is with the Bloomfield Township Police Department. He is Captain Dan Edwards, joining us on the MegaCast. Captain Edwards, good morning.
Good morning, Tyler. How are you?
I'm good. Captain Edwards, how are you? How's your team? How's your department holding up?
Our department is holding up good. We just, most of us went through the health screening that Oakland County had available to essential employees, and I'm proud to report that 0 of us have COVID right now, so we're healthy and safe.
Well, that's really good news. Any updates or information the community needs to know from our law enforcement, from our first responders, on local law enforcement as it stands at this moment?
Well, that's the reason I wanted to come on here today, is to let everybody know where we do stand with that. And our crimes reported this last week, I just pulled the stats, are down 50% for where they were the same week last year. So everybody is staying home and staying safe, and not even the criminals are not going out and committing a lot of crimes, which is really good for our community.
Yeah, that's always a positive. Less crime is always a good sign for our local law enforcement and for our community. You say a lot of people are staying home, so that's helping the crime rate stay down. As restrictions are being lifted, are you seeing more people out and about on golf courses, in the parks, walking on the sidewalks, and so on? Does that present any challenges, or has it so far, for local law enforcement and first responders?
Well, people are allowed, per the governor's orders, to go out and exercise, and they've been doing that. You got to maintain your mental health also through this whole thing. And we do respond to a lot of health and safety violations. People will call on their neighbors or on businesses that are open, reporting possible violations. And so we respond to all of those violations because we are the enforcement branch of the government. And so it's our job to go out and enforce the laws, even these new laws that the governor has put out. And the way that we enforce them, which is how we've done it right from the very beginning, we've told all of our officers that this is all new and we all have to learn together. And this is a healthcare crisis, more so than a law enforcement crisis. And so our goals when we do this is to go out and educate the people, let them know what the laws are, and try to get voluntary compliance. And if necessary, we can document it on a report for review at a later time. But to this point, we have had to issue 0 citations for any health and safety violations, and we have not made any arrests, and everybody is willing to work together to keep us all safe.
For the most part, I mean, the weather's been getting a lot nicer now. So more people are going
I would disagree with you on that.
Not today.
I'm outside right now, and I'm seeing a little bit of snow.
Yeah, not today, but generally, yeah.
Yes.
Other than this beautiful snowy Friday we're having here in Michigan, the weather's been much nicer. More people have been getting out. How can they, from our first responders' perspective, what can our residents do as they're going back out to make sure that they're going about that safely as they reemerge from their quarantine?
Well, obviously, social distancing is important, and wearing a face mask is important. And anytime you're in a public place, you have to wear a face mask. And we're getting a lot of calls for people that aren't complying with that. So we do go out and respond to that. And again, we try to educate them and try to get voluntary compliance, which, like I said, we've gotten 100% of cases to people to go along with what the governor's orders are. So when you're going out and enjoying this beautiful weather, just remember that, wear your mask and practice social distancing and follow the rules.
Yeah, always best to follow the rules, especially in these times. It's for people's safety, and it's for your safety, your families, and others as well. But for the most part, Captain Dan Edwards, Bloomfield Township Police Department, are you seeing people following these social distancing guidelines, wearing their masks out in public?
Yes, absolutely. And we've gotten, like I said, we get a lot of calls of complaints of neighbors having a big party or a big get together, or businesses that are open in violation of the rules. And we go and investigate them. And it may appear that way, but like birthday parties, there's a bunch of cars in my neighbor's yard and they're having a birthday party. Well, a lot of them are just a drive-by birthday party or a drive-by funeral. We've seen a lot of those. And people are practicing the social distancing, and so we haven't had any issues that we've had to issue citations to.
There's been news recently of increased use of technology, particularly cameras, to monitor social distancing and safety measures being followed. What are your thoughts on using technology to measure this, and how can it be useful for law enforcement to better understand how people are following these guidelines being set forth?
Well, I think this whole crisis is a healthcare crisis more so than a law enforcement crisis. And unfortunately, it's our job to enforce the laws, and along with that comes a certain reputation. But just educating people and getting voluntary compliance has worked completely. And most people want to do the right thing, and most people recognize that it's us having to work together as the enforcement branch and as them as people in the community. And so I think what the governor's puts out as the orders, they want to do the right thing and keep everybody safe.
So the use of this technology, these cameras, it's mostly been for monitoring crowd size. Are people social distancing? Are they wearing their masks? So as you said, it's been more about a health crisis and a health response, even from first responders and law enforcement, than it has been a law enforcement crisis necessarily. Are you saying in that case that these cameras and the use of extra technology to monitor these guidelines being followed is more for research purposes, so that law enforcement knows when they go out in the public, if they have a call, they know exactly what they're getting into?
Our officers are out there all the time, and they're driving around, and we've maintained our same level of staffing throughout this whole thing. Even though our reported crimes are way down, we're still out there and visible to the public and just to monitor what's going on. And anytime that we see issues, we would deal with them. And of course, cameras are an extra tool that we could use. Like I said, we haven't had any issues that we've had to enforce and issue citations for. So having cameras to monitor it is always a good idea. And we have cameras that we monitor things, and we try to always advance that. Getting other cameras like Detroit has, the green light districts that they have is using technology to aid law enforcement. And that's always a good thing. And it could be useful in this scenario also, but we haven't invested in that in regards to this crisis at all.
So for those residents of Bloomfield Township, of other municipalities that may be also using this kind of technology, can they be assured, they may be concerned about privacy, that maybe they're not wearing their mask in public and they're going to be tracked with facial recognition and then issued a citation? Is that going to happen, or are you, as you've alluded to in this, using that primarily for research purposes and understanding the community's reaction?
That is a great question. A lot of people, there's been a lot of rumors on social media and a lot of rumors that are out there because this is all new and it's scary. And like I said, our whole approach right from the very beginning, and I think that's a great point to bring up with facial recognition and law enforcement going after them, that we're approaching it from an education of voluntary compliance, and then if necessary to document it and review it later. We're not looking to use cameras to find people and then go out and arrest them. We want to work together with people, and we're not out to try to capture them with hidden cameras and stuff.
That's good to hear, and it's good to know also because it's a learning process for all of us. And we talked earlier this week with Deputy Police Chief Kurt Lawson from West Bloomfield about how his department and the fire department in West Bloomfield are really emphasizing education in the community at this time as people reemerge from their isolation or their quarantine, however you want to call it. What educational measures maybe is Bloomfield Township working on with the community organization to inform them of the safety measures that they can take, and as they return to work, go out into recreation, go out in public, and so on?
Well, I think the media has been doing a good job on educating people of what the laws are. And I think you guys really do a good job of that. And we need to partner with you, which is why I'm happy to come on here today to talk to your viewers, to help you to educate the people as to what the laws are. And again, this is a healthcare crisis, and we're just one of the tools that is used to enforce the laws and to let people know. And we've been approaching it from an education standpoint, just like you said, Deputy Chief Kurt Lawson is doing from West Bloomfield. We're doing the exact same thing, educating, getting voluntary compliance.
Captain Dan Edwards joining us from the Bloomfield Township Police Department on the MegaCast. Captain Edwards, before we let you go, just got another minute or so left. Anything else that you'd like to say, any other advice your department may want to give to the public?
Well, we're all in this together, and it's our job to enforce the laws, but it doesn't mean that we're going to go out and do it heavy-handedly. We are using discretion, and we are working with people, and like we want to be in this with everybody. It's not us against them, like a lot of rumors that are out there on the internet would indicate. That's not at all true.
Captain Dan Edwards from the Bloomfield Township Police Department joining us on the MegaCast on this Friday. Captain Edwards, thank you very much for being with us.
And thank you, Tyler, for giving me the opportunity to be on.
He is from the Bloomfield Township Police Department, Captain Dan Edwards.